You know, out west where I spend most of my big game hunting time after blacktails and Roosevelt elk, the country's big. And one of the big parts of big game hunting out here in recent years has been the interest in hunting for shed antlers. Now, when you're looking at some of the big terrain that we're in, both mule deer as well as a black-tailed deer, even western whitetail, as well as Rocky Mountain elk and your Roosevelt elk, big country, vast habitat, brushy terrain can make antler shed hunting very, very difficult. But in the off season, if you're looking to increase your hunting odds come fall, one of the best things you can do is get out there and look for sheds. And I'm going to introduce a man to you today who's taught me more about this in the last couple of years than anyone I know. Steve Waller of Cabin Creek Kennels. Steve, I want to thank you for taking the time to spend with us today here.
Thank you.
And Steve, we've done a lot of things over the last couple of years together here. He's taught me more about shed antler hunting than anything. And I think one of the most impressive things, one of the first times we went out together in an area where I'd hunted for sheds, I'd be lucky to find 2 sheds a day. And you and I went out there and we found over 24 in a day. And I think this dog hunting for sheds is really catching on out here.
Yeah, this is really a neat deal, Scott. This thing will increase your horn 50–80% per day, your production. It's just amazing. And if you can imagine just out here walking by yourself and trying to find a horn, and you get these dogs, we'll get them to where they'll range back and forth 200 to 400 yards.
Really?
Yeah, once we get them trained.
What do we have here? What kind of setup do you have here where we're going to start off trying to train a dog to find antler sheds?
Well, this is called a force fetch bench. Normally ideally they're about 16 feet. That's what this one is. It's 24 inches wide, 24 to 30 inches wide. And what it does more than anything, it gets the dog up off the ground and gets you eye to eye. And down there the dog's got a lot more control. Up here he's on a short chain and he doesn't have control, and you take over. And what this thing is any retriever, Scott, worth their salt is going to retrieve, and they may retrieve 20–30 ducks. But once we get a dog force fetched, I guarantee you I can put 500 bumpers out there, and that dog will deliver to hand 500 bumpers, whatever amount of time that takes.
Well, Steve, a lot of people are very interested in this thing right now. Probably the #1 question I get asked, do I have to go to a real high-end dog here, or can I just train my own dog to hunt for antler sheds?
You could actually go to the Pound or Humane Society and pick a dog up, and you might, it might work, but it might not. Personally, I think I use the example of a racehorse. If you're going to race a horse, would you go out and research genetics and pedigree, or would you just go to the auction barn and buy a horse?
Yeah.
You may get one that's going to run, but I doubt it.
With the dog off the training bench, Scott and Steve take the dogs out in the field to test them in a real shed hunting situation. And later, we'll join the winner of the Sport Hill drawing, Blake Regals, as he hunts for an Oregon longbeard. With Tiffany's bird in the bag, it leaves us with the shed master, Steve Waller, as he's showing us real shed hunting scenarios with his world-class dogs.
The final step in this training situation is getting the dogs out in the woods and trying to get them on natural drops or shed antlers. Now what we're going to do here, it's just like any shed antler excursion that you'd be going out on. We're going to be searching the south-facing slopes. This is where these deer are going to be bedding during the times when they shed their antlers. Now the deer in the area where we're at, they're migratory deer, or they may be some resident deer as well. But what we're doing is we're waiting for those deer for the time to pass from when they've dropped their shed, so they're not stressed from their winter activities. They've had a chance to regain, their body energy after the rut and after a long winter. So we're out here in the spring, late March, all through April is really a good time to hunt for shed antlers. And you're hunting where these deer are going to be dropping their shed antlers, just like you would if you were out looking for them. The great thing is here is that you have the keen nose of a dog to help you find these antlers. So we're going to be hunting trails. We're going to be going over a lot of logs where trails, where they're blowing across the trails. These are areas where the deer and the elk, when they jump over these things, when their antlers are starting to work loose of the pedicle, the jarring of their body will actually cause that antler to drop off. So we're going to be looking at bedding areas, because a lot of times, again, when bucks get up from a bedding area or a bull elk, they'll get up and shake. A lot of times that antler will drop off. So we want to put the dogs in a favorable situation so that they can find success. And we're just going to spend the afternoon here, a few hours working this hillside. Steve has a couple dogs here for us that we're going to be working this afternoon, and see if we can find some sheds.
Good dog. Good girl. Yeah, that's a big one, isn't it, huh? Oh boy. Yeah. Nice job. Yeah, we don't get those very often, do we? Watch them up.
Dogs are an optimal tool when it comes to finding big shed numbers. Using their nose, they circle downwind to catch a scent trail and locate sheds. Using dogs will dramatically increase your shed count and could ultimately put bigger bucks and bulls on your wall.
Good job. Good job. All excited. Good job. That's a nice shed right there. That is a heck of a blacktip. Good 3-point, but that nice eye guard. You know, that's a lot of times where when we're hunting antler sheds by ourselves, that's where you find them, where these deer follow these trails and they hop over a log like that. And that was neat. Well, they've done good. They've been out here quite a few hours, and they've rounded up some good antlers here for us. We're getting a pack full.
Yeah, you can kind of see they're getting a little tired, and then we're getting some wind puffs, you know, and that one there, the dog was around it 2 or 3 times, and the wind finally came up, and you got a sniff of it.
Yeah. Well, gosh darn, that worked out great. Steve, I want to thank you.
You bet.
For taking this time, this whole day to spend with us and teach us about the antler shed hunting right here at Cabin Creek Kennels. If you have any more questions or interest about how to train your dog or to learn more about training a dog for shed antler hunting, Steve Waller is the man to call.